or so-called Messiah. He did what he has to do. I guess he has very less ego. He doesn't consider the ordinary opinion of people. So probably that's why he walked out of his retreat on the 40th day. He thought, wow, 9 more days make no difference. I'm enlightened anyhow. And what I got to do. The earlier, the better. But what I mean is probably, you see, that's how we know Jesus had been meditating before. Otherwise, how does he know? Yeah? How does he meditate for 40 days? The same like Buddha or Mohammed. When you study the life of Mohammed, you know he also made a retreat before he appeared to preach in his country or to his fellow believer. Is that not so? All of them did the same thing. And coincidentally, I also did the same thing, even though I know nothing about that. I mean, I did not intend to make a retreat first and then to go out. Everything just has been done the way it should be done, just naturally. Just like when you're hungry, you eat. You're tired, you sleep. So if we would like to have inner peace, then we must have satisfaction. We must have a kind of extraordinary satisfaction that could overcome all other desires in order to have what you required earlier, inner peace. It's not that difficult to attain what you just request. And what you requested, what the lady, our friend, requested, was the only thing that's worth requesting. And the only thing that we should attain and should yearn for. Because by attaining inner peace, we will attain everything else. That is also the name for the kingdom of God. All the miracles, all the satisfaction, all the fulfillment of worldly and heavenly desires come from the kingdom of God, come from the inner realization of our eternal harmony, of our eternal wisdom, and of our almighty power. If we do not get this, we never find satisfaction in this world. Doesn't matter how much money we have, doesn't matter what kind of position we hold, doesn't matter how much things this world has offered at our feet. That's why, again, in the Bible it is said, what good does a man if he gains the whole world and loses the soul, or the kingdom of God? Because the soul is connected with the kingdom of God. The soul can only feel happy in the kingdom of God. And the kingdom of God is within us, is at hand. So we don't need to really go to the Himalaya to search for it. We might go to the church to pray if that is helpful to us and make us find a little bit of comfort, for our daily stress. But that is not the kingdom of God. Once we found the kingdom of God, we never lose it again. And everything else is at our command. Therefore, Buddha has forsaken the kingdom of the earth. Therefore, Jesus refused to be the king of the Jews. Officially. His disciples and his followers wanted so much to make him the king of the Jews. But he refused. He said, my kingdom is not on earth. My kingdom is with my Father in heaven. And he even recommended everyone to lay your treasure upon heaven and not on earth, because here things will get damaged and destroyed. What he meant is we should put our attention, our love to realize God, to God. Love your God with all your soul or your mind or your strength. But it's difficult to understand all this saying in the Bible. Therefore, the Bible say again, seeing you see, but you do not perceive. Hearing you hear, but you do not understand. Why is that? Most of us, when we read the Bible, we only read the vocabulary, and we don't even understand the true impact in the Bible. And also the Bible sometimes stated paradoxical statements and confuse people. But I do not believe that the Bible is paradoxical. I do believe in the misinterpretation of the later generation, of the ego of the interpreters, who wants to interpret it the way he thinks and the way he understands it, without further deeply study into the subject and meditate on the true meaning of the Bible. For example, in the first chapter of the Old Testament, God said, I made all the herbs in the field and all the beautiful fruit trees. These shall be your meat. Yeah? So, meat in that sense means meals, means only food. It doesn't mean meat as what we eat nowadays, like beef steaks or pork chops. And what next? Oh, is that not so? But then in other interpretation, they think, well, meat means meat. Yeah. And also, if someone who never cared about the true meaning of it would interpret it as meat, but actually in the original text, I heard it means meal. Meat at that time meant anything for food. Doesn't mean meat like we mean today. And also, for example, in India, we have a kind of very sweet, they call it sweet meat. Those of you who went to India would have eaten them and know what I mean. Sweet meat. And now if we translate it into our language, it becomes sweet meat. It's correct. I mean meat, which is sweet. And if we don't know that, and if we have never been in India, or if we do not care to truly understand what that means, we put it as meat. And all the master in India would eat meat by now. Sweet meat. Yeah. And now if somebody interprets it and they, wow, nonsense. How can meat be sweet? Probably the author wrote it wrong. Probably he mean lean meat. Yeah. And probably the interpreter has a kind of